Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the world-famous Cicada Club. A very special night indeed, where we pay tribute to our armed forces. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, I would ask you all to rise for the national anthem. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. This is Maxwell Demille'S talking, broadcasting live from the world-famous Cicada Club here in downtown Los Angeles, California, America's greatest summer playground. Tonight is a tribute to the armed forces, past and present, with Dean Mora and his orchestra. Featuring Kerr Morrison, Damon Kirsch, and our special guests, Jennifer Shelton, Jan Daley, the Lindy Sisters, and a very special appearance by Mr. George Takei. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Mr. Dean Mora.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank you also very much for attending this special evening where we honor those men and women who serve or have served our country, and we salute you tonight. And thank you. Now at this time, I would like to ask, we're going to play the service medley. So we'll be playing each of the songs of each branch of the military. And I ask all those to clear the dance floor, first of all. And for those of you who are veterans or are actively serving, to please come to the dance floor so we can acknowledge and thank you for your service. Now please, I ask that just actual veterans, not people wearing outfits like this, real veterans, real veterans. Because if you do and you're caught, you have a lot of explaining to do. And you don't want to explain it to these guys. All right. Here we go. Start off with the oldest branch of the military, the U.S. Army. Now the men and women of the United States Marine Corps. Now the men and women of the United States Navy. And now the United States Air Force. Finally, the men and women of the United States Coast Guard. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your service. And now we begin the dancing with a selection from 1942. This selection was recorded by Hal McIntyre and his orchestra. Hal was a saxophone player with Glenn Miller's band, had his own orchestra during the war years. And so here is, this is the Army Mr. Jones, and we're featuring Damon Kirsch singing for you. Enjoy. The dance floor is open.
This is the Army, Mr. Jones. No private rooms or telephones. You had your breakfast in bed before, but you won't have it there anymore. This is the Army, Mr. Green. We like our barracks nice and clean. You had a housemaid to clean your floor, but she won't help you out anymore. Do what the buglers command. They're in the army and not in a band. This is the army, Mr. Brown. You and your baby went to town. She had you worried, but this is war, and she won't worry you anymore. Mr. Jones.
Damon Kirsch, ladies and gentlemen. He's over there somewhere. Thank you. We're going to bring back Damon again for a beautiful number written in 1939, sung with great success by Dame Vera Lynn. I'm happy to say it's still very much with us and very active in the efforts with veterans, and she's just turned 94 years old, and she's very beloved all over the world. In fact, a little tidbit I found out about her, about 2 years ago, they re-released her greatest hits album, and she became the oldest living artist to make it to #1 on the pop charts in the UK. So, even beat out the Beatles that week. Go figure. Here's a beautiful number. This goes out to our British and English friends. Someone made that point there. Nightingale sang in Berkeley Square.
The night we met, there was magic abroad in the air. There were angels dining at the Ritz, and a nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. I may be right, I may be wrong, but I'm perfectly willing to swear that when you turned and smiled at me, a nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. The moon that lingered over London town, poor puzzled moon, he wore a frown. How could he know we two were so in love? The whole dark world seemed upside down. The streets of town were paved with stars. It was such a romantic affair. And as we kissed and said goodnight, a nightingale sang in Berkeley Square.
Damon Kirsch singing for you. Nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. Although in looking up on my research, there are actually no nightingales in London, as I've been told. Sorry to break it to you, they're actually robins. But a robin sang in Berkeley Square? Doesn't sound right. Anyway, now you know. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have our first of our special guest performers this evening. And we'd like you to give a warm welcome to the wonderful singing trio, the Lindy Sisters. And for those who cannot see this on your electronic transmission, or you can only hear it by radio, they are wearing uniforms of the different branches of the service. You see Army, Navy, and Marines. There we go. Now, if you can adjust the microphones, we'll get this ready to go. And
And now I'm writing you to apple tree with anyone else but me. With anyone else but her. No, 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 not a single soul but me. No, 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 don't you sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me. Not till you see me, not till you see me marching home. Home, 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 sweet home. Don't go up and down Lover's Lane with anyone else but me. With anyone else but her. No, 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 not a single soul but me. No, 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 don't you go walking down Lover's Lane with anyone else but me. Not till you see me, not till you see me marching home. Home, 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 sweet home. Just swing like a marching home. So don't go walking down the Lover's Lane. No, walking down the Lover's Lane till you see me. When you see me marching home, then we'll go arm in arm and sit down under the apple tree. Maybe just you and me when I come marching home.
Lovely, lovely. That was very lovely, ladies. Now, once again, could you tell us your names? Once again,
Well, I am Lorelei Lindy.
Lorelei Lindy,
And I am Lainey Lindy.
Lainey Lindy.
And lovely Lynette Lindy.
Oh, I see. With an adjective, apparently. Lovely Lynette Lindy. There we go.
Are you Larry Lindy?
No, I'm not Larry Lindy. Thank you.
Leroy?
No. Now, cut it out. Now, cut that out. Stop it. All right, well, we're going to do a lovely number. It's going to be a lot slower than the one we just did. Woo, boy. All right, here we go with I'll Be With You in Apple Blossom Time.
I'll be with you in apple blossom time. I'll be with you to change your name to mine. One day in May, I'll come and say, happy the bride that the sun shines on today. What a wonderful wedding there will be. What a wonderful day for you and me. Church bells will chime. You will be mine in apple blossom time.
I'll be with you in apple blossom time.
Then what will you do?
Then I'll be with you to change your name to mine.
When will that be?
One day, maybe in May.
Then what will you do?
Then I will say to you, dear, happy the bride that the sun shines on today.
And what a wonderful wedding there will be one day in May. What a very, very wonderful day for you and me, dear. Church bells will chime. You will be mine. When? In apple blossom time.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the Lindy Sisters. Thank you, ladies. We'll have them back later on this evening. You gonna say something? So when we go double time, don't actually go double time. Now I'd like to bring up to the microphone our nurse in residence here, Lieutenant, is it Lieutenant? Kara Morrison. Again, another person who apparently did not get the memo that we were supposed to wear summer wear about this time. So here we are, slowly melting away in our winter outfits.
Well, if you collapse, I can take care of you because I am a nurse.
Yeah, that's right, she's a nurse. Alrighty, oh, I feel faint already. Well, she's going to sing a number that was recorded by Jimmy Dorsey and his orchestra from October of 1943. The original vocalist was Kitty Callan, who, believe it or not, is still with us. She's 89, still with us. And this is the song lamenting the dearth of men.
You gals can relate. You marched away and left this town as empty as can be. I can't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me. For there is no secret lover that the draft board didn't discover. And the crop is clean. What's good is in the army. What's left will never harm me. I'm either their first breath of spring, or else I'm their last little thing. I must confess to one romance I'm sure you will allow. He tries to serenade me, but his voice is changing now. I'm finding it easy to stay good as gold. They're either too young or too old. Or out in the Aleutians, or rough among the Russians, or flying over Egypt. Your heart will never reach it. And when you get to India, I'll still be what I've been to ya. I'll let something over and go and behold. They're either too young or too old.
Karen Morrison. How about another song? Sure, we can do it. Absolutely. This number is going to goes out to all those brave men who went through all that ACAC fire, trying to make their destination and trying to make it home. This tune is called Coming Home on a Wing and a Prayer.
Coming in on a wing and a prayer. Coming in on a wing and a prayer. trust in the Lord, we're coming in on a wing and a prayer. Though there's one martyr gone, we can still carry on, coming in on a wing and a prayer. What a show, what a find. Yes, we really hit our target for tonight. How we sing as we limp through the air. Look below, there's our field over there, with our whole crew aboard and our trust in the Lord. We're coming in on a wing and a prayer.
Cam Morrison, ladies and gentlemen, for all your nursing needs.
Say, folks, you're listening to Dean Mora and his orchestra. We hope you're enjoying this Independence Day weekend here at the Cicada Club. And remember, folks, if you've got friends that would like to watch our live broadcast, simply have them go to the cicadaclub.com electronic television page, and they can watch the show live right now as it's being broadcast. And say, Mr. Mora, we've got a very special guest coming up now, don't we?
That is correct, sir.
And who might that be?
Well, that'll be that wonderful, wonderful vocalist, Miss Jennifer Shelton, will come up and sing for us a beautiful number by George Gershwin. Oh, by the way, Jennifer, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Mora.
I wanted to let you know that the uniform that Damon Kirsch is wearing was provided courtesy of the Fort MacArthur Military Museum. And we'll tell you more about that great institution and the big event that's happening next weekend.
Next weekend, we'll tell you about it later, but now it's time for the lovely, the enchanting Jennifer Shelton.
Oh, here we go. Take that one. Nice to see you, my dear. And what shall you be singing today?
Summertime.
Yes, but when are you going to be singing? Oh, some other time. Oh, you're going to sing summertime.
Okay.
All right, fine. No. Just kidding.
Oh, I'm short.
Fair
Jennifer Shelton. She'll be back later on in this evening.
And now I'm back this evening.
Great.
Say, folks, how about a big round of applause for someone that's been working very hard for you this evening to bring you all this wonderful entertainment. I'm speaking none other than me, Maxwell DeMille, and my good friend Dean Mora.
I always fall for that one. I don't know why.
Yes, I don't know why. You've only heard it 10,000 times. Now, of course, Jennifer Shelton was here recently for the Johnny Holiday program.
That is correct. In fact, I believe Mr. Holiday is in attendance this evening.
You are correct, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is. Almost the most handsome man in the world, Mr. Johnny Holiday. Here he is, Johnny Holiday.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here at the Cicada Club. And ladies and gentlemen, I have always enjoyed these nights here, to be surrounded by the giants who have served our nation with pride and honor. And I must tell you, as you know, those of you that have followed me on my broadcast from here or in previous venues over the years, one of the organizations that I have always wanted to support and have tried to support through my friends and fundraising, and an organization that I want all of you to pay close attention to, because I think it's very important. Right now, 2.5 million Americans are wearing the uniform of the United States of America, here at home and overseas. These volunteers, many of whom I've met over the years, I have sung for members of the armed forces that served during World War II, and I can't tell you what an honor it has been to meet these incredibly brave individuals who have sacrificed so much for freedom, for liberty. And the lamp of liberty continues to shine bright, as my Uncle Bing used to say so many years ago, and it still shines bright today. And when Bing and Bob went on the road, and they took us with them back in the 1940s and the 50s and the 60s, we were reminded about how lucky we were to be raised in a great country like the United States of America. How lucky we are that in the history of the world, no nation has fed and clothed as many people as we have compared to all other nations combined. And one organization, since our 235th birthday is coming up tomorrow, 235 years. That's an amazing thing of Independence Day. But 70 years ago, the USO was formed. I have always believed that the USO was the organization for us to show our personal support for the men and women of the armed forces and their family. And tonight, I want to show you how you can contribute to the well-being of our troops and, yes, their families. Because I brought along a friend of mine who's the head of the USO, the executive director of the USO, General Michael Tileman. Michael, come on up here. Michael has served our country and our state. Michael he's also a member of the Directors Guild. He's a producer, director. He did the biography show on my Uncle Bing Crosby.
Truly wonderful. Truly
right.
Wonderful indeed.
Yeah, what? Listen to that voice. That is the big voice of NBC if I ever heard one. I got to tell you, you're like Ken Carpenter. But Michael, I want to show the folks watching, because we'll have 5,000 people watching the show tonight, and I want you in the audience and those of you watching at home around the world to remember that somewhere overseas there's a soldier, sailor, Marine. Those of us that go to LAX, I've seen those boys and gals with their 40-pound bags. They're off to some place far away where the climate isn't always pleasant. They're serving our country, and they serve with honor and dignity, and it's the USO that gives them some grub, a place to have some chow, relax a little bit. The USO that Bob Hope did so much for, and I got to tell you, those of us that knew Mr. Hope, that appreciated so much of what Bob did during his career for the USO, beginning at Camp Roberts through, that was his first show, was it Camp Roberts?
Actually, his first show was at March
Field, you're right.
May 6th, 1941.
That's right. And in 1964, Bob did his first tour of Vietnam, as I recall. And the USO is very fortunate to have this marvelous guy, and I want to show each and every one of you how simple it is. Here I have a check, made out to the Bob Hope USO LAX. Now why don't you join me? Why don't you chip in for the Bob Hope USO at Los Angeles Airport, where so many of our fellow citizens, our brothers and sisters, fellow Americans who volunteered to serve, why don't you chip in and help the Bob Hope USO at LAX? And please give generously, because they need your help. Michael, thank you for your service, and God bless you.
God bless you, John.
Michael, I want you to tell the folks how they can donate to your marvelous organization here in our bone backyard of Los Angeles.
Absolutely. Well, Johnny, thank you so much. It's a joy to show up here. After 20 years on KTLA, I think you have a larger audience of 5,000 people than sometimes
I think
my
so.
stuff did. But
I never did better than 60, but you're doing good.
What
kid.
the
Go ahead.
heck? What the heck? As Johnny mentioned, the USO is celebrating its 70th birthday.
That's right.
This year. And Bob Hope and Johnny Graham. Johnny was the mayor
God
of
bless
Hollywood and my closest friend. And between Bob and Johnny, they said, hey, Mike, come on down, run the USO, get that thing going. And we are serving between our three centers 100,000 troops and their families each and every year. And
right.
there's not a penny cost.
Keep it going.
Nobody pays anything. No GI is ever
right.
charged for anything.
Take that, Delta Airlines.
You better,
Sorry, I had to get that
you
in.
better believe that, baby.
Can't get enough miles.
Yeah. But we got a lot of stuff going down there. The men and women are coming back. They're going over. They're doing their job, and they're doing it with pride and courage and an excitement when you come on down and see these young men and women. And they, the women are doing as much now as the guys are, and they're doing it brilliantly.
Right.
And we just love them. So whenever you're thinking of supporting the USO, think of the BobHopeUSO.org website and send us some money, and we will appreciate it so much. We don't get any money from the government, so
That's right.
that's the best way to handle it.
Well, you sound like a Republican. But you
Well,
know,
hey, yeah.
Now, but I want to tell you something, and I do mean this. I love the USO. I know from my own experience what the USO has meant to so many GIs. Bing used to talk about the camp shows, and of course Bob led the field in that department, and it's so fitting.
Oh, boy.
It's so fitting that Bob Hope USO at LAX, when I see those boys and gals coming off the planes, knowing that we don't know where they're going to end up. Maybe they're going to go call home. Maybe they just need someplace to sleep. This is the man who makes it possible. This is the man who does so much for so many, and I want to thank you.
Well, it's all the volunteers. We're run by volunteers.
That's right. Well, God bless you
people
so
like,
much, Mike.
like Johnny Holiday and Monsignor, right behind me, my good Lord. We've got a colonel back here who also does great and wondrous things to help the troops.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to announce one of the members of our audience, Mr. William Chapman.
Gets to go to Iraq for the next year free.
No. He's just pledged $1,000 to the USO.
Whoa! All right.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. May God bless you. Thank you
God
so much.
bless you. Thank you.
And Michael, again, I want to thank you very much because I'm going to bring up a friend of Bob Hope's in just a moment. So thank you, Michael.
Well, I was a friend.
Well, you are not. You're more than a friend, Bob. But Michael, but we won't tell
George,
anyone.
whatever works.
Well, whatever works. Just cash
Say
the
goodnight,
check by
Gracie.
Tuesday.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie. Say the secret word. All right, Michael. Don't forget USO, Bob Hope, USO, LAX, and Michael. Thank you for coming up here.
Thank you.
All right, cash
And
it
thanks,
after 5
everybody.
o'clock.
What a great night.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a real thrill for me some weeks ago during my own show to bring up a young lady who has had an incredible career. She, to me, is one of the finest singers of our time. She is truly one of the first ladies of song. She toured with Bob. She has worked with just about everybody in the industry. And to me, she is one of the stellar singers of our time. I think it's a real thrill to have such a high-ranking vocalist appear here tonight along with Dean and this marvelous band. We're very blessed and very fortunate to have one of Bob Hope's co-stars on his USO tours, a lady who I think is so easy on the eyes, and when Jerome Kern wrote lovely to look at, delightful to know, I know he was thinking of our next guest, Miss Jan Daley.
Thank you. The night is young, the sky
skies clear, and if you wanna go walking, dear, it's delightful, it's delicious, it's lovely. I understand the reason why you're sentimental, 'cause so am I. It's delightful, it's delicious, it's lovely. You can tell at a glance what a swell night this is for romance. You're gonna hear them up and jump over in love. Let yourself go, please be sweet, my honeybee. And when I kiss you, just say to me, it's delightful, it's delicious, it's delectable, it's delirious, it's dilemma, it's dilemma, it's deluxe, it's lovely. It's delightful, it's delicious, it's lovely. Delightful, it's delicious, it's lovely. See the crowd at the church, see the proud parson propped on his virtue. That sweet beat up the organ ceiling undo. There goes the groom, how they cheer and how they smile as we go galloping down the aisle. It's divine, dear, it's divine, dear, it's the wunderbar, it's the victory, it's develop, it's divina, it's devote, it's the go galloping down the aisle. It's divine, dear, it's divine, dear, it's the wunderbar, it's the victory, it's develop, it's divina, it's devote, it's the lovely. Hi everybody, it's great to be back here. This great band. You know, yeah, can't hear a thing out of those, yes. I sang this next song without the frog to GIs around the world, and I would like to sing it tonight, but the only thing that's missing is the GI. So, you know what I'd like is that maybe I could find a man in uniform. Do I have a volunteer? Because I can't see. Gary. Oh, he's so brave. Upstairs.
And what would you like me to do?
You don't have to sing. In fact, please don't sing. Just stand there. Where do I begin to tell the story of how great a love can be? The sweet love story that is older than the sea. The simple truth about the love you bring to me. Where do I start? With your first hello, you brought me meaning to this empty world of mine. There'd never be another love, another time. You came into my life and made the living fine. You filled my heart. You filled my heart with very special things, with angel songs, with wild imaginings. You fill my soul with so much love that anywhere I go, I'm never lonely.
it's always there. How long does it last? Can love be measured by the hours in a day? I have no answers now, but this much I can say. I know I'll need you till the stars all burn away, and you will be the All right. Okay, well, I want some more. No, I'm just kidding. I was lucky enough to record this next song for a movie called Madrone, starring Leslie Caron and Richard Boone. And, oh yes, the movie internet database called it the worst movie ever produced. But out of it, the song that I recorded went on to be nominated for an Academy Award and put me on the map to give me the privilege of traveling with Bob Hope. To love touches your life, you drift and you wander and you roam through towns and lives of strangers, till love touches life. Your heart doesn't ever feel at home. You fight the world and tell yourself you're happy. Oh, well, touches your life. You learn what it's really like to live the feel of home, the learning how to give, the need never to part, the warmth there in your heart when love gently reaches out and touches your life. Oh, the feel. Oh.
Jan Daley, ladies and gentlemen. Jan Daley, one of the most marvelous vocalists, not of, there just are very few voices, I think, that just give you a thrill the way Jan does. Jan, that was marvelous. You are so delightful, delicious, and lovely. Oh, and I'm honored to have you at my table tonight, because to me, you're a big star. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to say hello to a friend of mine who I know is watching overseas, who's celebrating her birthday. Good night, and God bless you, Mrs. H. I also want to tell you that Jan doesn't talk too much about this, but Jan, you were very fortunate, I think, to work with Bob Hope and to travel with him overseas, entertaining the troops and bringing a little bit of home overseas. And I thought it might be nice if you could sing that song for all of us to bring back a few memories.
A few memories.
All right.
Lots of memories.
All right. Here we go. Jan Daley, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks for the memory of candlelight wine, castles on the Rhine, the Parthenon, and moments on the Hudson River line. How lovely it was. So thanks for the memory of sunburns at the shore, nights in Singapore. You might have been a headache, but you never were a bore. So thank you so much. Many's the time that we feasted, and many's the time that we fasted. Well, it was swell while it lasted. We did have fun and no harm done. And thanks for the memory of lingerie with lace, Pilsner by the case, and how I jumped the day you trumped my one and only ace. How lovely it was. You brought me along to Vietnam, gave me pointers on the soft shoe and how to be a ham. I was proud to be singing for Uncle Sam. Your jokes made them smile, if only for a while. And thanks for the memory. Through wars you helped us cope, you broadened every scope. Wherever there is laughter, then forever there'll be hope. Awfully glad I knew you. How could I ever forget to thank you so much? Good night, Bob.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jan Daley. Thank you, Jan. And thanks for those memories. Now say, folks, you know there's another side of our tribute to the men and women of the armed forces, a little known fact you may not know about. And here to tell you something about it, our very special guest tonight. Please welcome, if you will, Mr. George Takei. Good evening, George. How are you?
Just great. It's wonderful being here. These gloriously talented people, and in this treasure of Los Angeles. It's a wonderful evening, and it's a real pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you here, George. Now here's the microphone. I'm going to let you say a few words to the folks.
Well, it's a joy to be here with all of you on this Independence Day weekend when we pay tribute to the many, many servicemen and women who have fought for this country. And I'd like to share with you a very special group of veterans from the 1940s to whom I owe a great deal. They're my heroes. And let me tell you a little bit about them. When Pearl Harbor was bombed on December 7th, 1941, all young Americans rushed to the recruitment offices to serve our country. And like all Americans, young Japanese American men and women went to those recruitment offices. But what happened to them was a unique and singular experience. They were rejected for service and labeled enemy non-aliens, American citizens. Non-aliens are American citizens, and we were labeled enemies simply because we happened to look like the people who bombed Pearl Harbor. After Pearl Harbor, Japanese Americans were looked at with fear and suspicion and with hatred. President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed Executive Order 9066, which ordered all Americans of Japanese ancestry on the West Coast to be rounded up and put into barbed wire internment camps in some of the most hellish places in this country: the blistering hot desert of Arizona, the sultry, humid swamps of Arkansas, the cold, windswept high plains of Wyoming, Idaho, Utah, and Colorado. We were imprisoned with no charges, no due process, no trials, simply because of our ancestry. But a year into internment, the government realized that there was a wartime manpower shortage. And so as suddenly as they rounded us up, they opened up the military for service by young Japanese Americans. And the astounding thing is, after a year of imprisonment, thousands of young Japanese American men and women volunteered from behind those barbed wire fences, leaving their families and loved ones in imprisonment, and put on the same uniform as that of the sentries that guarded over us. They were put into a segregated all-Japanese American unit, the 442nd Regimental Combat Team. They chose as their regimental motto, "Go for broke." They were determined to give it their all to prove their Americanism. And give it their all that they did. They fought with amazing courage and valor and heroism on those bloody battlefields of Italy, France, and ultimately Germany. They sustained the highest combat casualty rate of any unit of its size in the Second World War. In one battle alone, the battle to rescue the Lost Battalion, a battalion of Texans that was surrounded by the Nazis and totally isolated. 2,000 men of the Japanese American unit, the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, went in to rescue 200 Texans. They engaged them in intense combat for 8 days straight and sustained 1,000 casualties to save those 200 Texans. They saved them, and they received 2 Presidential Unit citations for that heroic effort. By April of 1945, the Allied advance on the Nazis had been stopped at the Gothic Line. This was an impregnable mountain fortress embedded with the toughest Nazi SS division. 3 Allied divisions had been pounding away at it for 6 months, and they were stalemated. They brought in the members of the 442nd to create a diversionary attack. The men of the 442nd came up with a bold and dangerous plan. The backside of the Gothic line was a sheer rock cliff, a drop of about 4,000 feet. They decided to do the impossible. The enemy thought an attack from the backside was impossible. The men of the 442nd decided to attack from that side. On a dark, moonless night, they began scaling that rock wall in full combat gear. They climbed all night long. In the darkness, many men lost their footing or their grip and fell to their death in the ravine below. They all fell silently so as not to give away their position. At the first crack of day, they attacked. They took the hill and broke the Gothic line, a 6-month stalemate. They broke that Gothic line in 34 minutes. It was an amazing act of heroism. And there was another group of Japanese Americans in the Pacific Theater. 6,000 young Japanese Americans served on the military intelligence service. They became the eyes and ears of intelligence with their language skills. They were in truly dangerous territory because they looked just like the enemy. The term friendly fire had a deadly real meaning for them. They interrogated prisoners. They translated millions and millions of documents, and they broke enemy codes. And it's believed that the work of the Japanese Americans of the Military Intelligence Service shortened the war by 2 years and saved thousands of Allied lives. The war ended, and they returned from the European theater as the single most decorated unit of the entire Second World War, given its size. There were 21 who received the Distinguished Service Cross, the second highest military honor that the nation can grant. They were welcomed back on the White House lawn by President Harry Truman, who said to them, "You fought the enemy, but more than that, you fought prejudice and you won." The heroism of the 442nd began a lot of changes, but the most significant change that happened was in 1996, when Congress mandated a re-examination of the records of the veterans who received the Distinguished Service Cross, the second highest military honor. And upon re-examination, it was found that they were indeed, their acts of heroism were indeed deserving of the highest military honor, the Medal of Honor. And it was only wartime prejudice that had relegated them to the second tier. In the year 2000, I got a very special invitation from the White House. It was an invitation for me to witness the granting of the Medal of Honor to the 21 Japanese Americans who were to receive the Medal of Honor. I sat there in the White House as I heard the names of those men called out. Many of them had passed on by the year 2000. But the men that came forward now were very elderly. Many walked with unsteady steps. A few leaned on canes, and one was in a wheelchair. But I could almost feel the heat of pride coming from them. And I felt an indescribable mix of emotions. Poignance, because it took more than a half a century for these heroes to be recognized for their amazing valor. I felt great pride in their remarkable patriotism. And I felt a deep, profound sense of gratitude to these young men who did amazing deeds under incredible circumstances and made this country, my America, possible. After the ceremony, I went up to them to congratulate them and to thank them for their amazing service. And I asked one of them, how were you able to do what you did when this government treated you and your family so shabbily? And he said to me, well, George, when I was going to school, I began every school day with a Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I meant every word of it, especially that part that said, with liberty and justice for all. This government didn't think I was American enough. So by gum, I went out there to show them what kind of American I am. And by gum, he showed them. He showed them what an American is made of. An American is defined not by race, but by the ideals that he holds so dear, dear enough to fight for and die for. It was these men, Japanese Americans, who came from barbed wire imprisonment after they had been rejected as enemy non-aliens, that went on to define my America for me. And it is because of them that I can stand before you and join with you in celebrating this Independence Day, the 4th of July, as a proud American. Thank you. That applause can be heard, I'm sure, by all these great heroes. Japanese Americans who fought coming from barbed wire imprisonment, but all the people who served our country so magnificently that we can enjoy an evening like this in freedom and in pride. Thank you very much. Enjoy your Independence Day weekend.
Thank you, George Cicada. That inspiring and enlightening talk about the 442nd and the Japanese Americans who gave so much to our country. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our program of dance music continues with Dean Mora and his orchestra.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was Flying Home, which is appropriate because we got to fly home. We got Flying Home. So that actually concludes our first set. We're running a little late, and musicians have bladders too. So we're going to take a brief intermission. We'll be right back. Thank you very much.